Welcome back to the Rebel's Edge. I'm Jon Najarian. Pete joining me shortly to let us know whether or not the waiting game is over. We finally got the CPI report. And did it give us what we wanted or what we needed to not see higher rates? Well, we'll break that down along with sports, stocks, and some prediction market news on today's Rebel's Edge. Bang.
You fully disappeared from my screen when you did your bang.
Bang.
That's great.
Well, the good news is, Pete, that we indeed did get the CPI report.
Yep.
Came out at 3.4 versus 3.5 last month. And a fair amount of stuff was doing pretty well in terms of prices coming back down. We haven't been at 2% in forever, so we could complain about that forever. But basically, we've been around this level, despite the fact that crude oil is up over $80 a barrel. So I think it's pretty darn interesting that we have sort of relaxed about the consumer prices.
Not only that, John, but relaxed about the idea that we're going to have to raise rates. We're going to have to do this. And, that's something that I think that we've been watching very closely, obviously, of what are they going to do? What's the Fed going to do in September? And I think this is at least helped a little bit. You never know what exactly they're going to be looking at. We know that they're going to be looking at a lot of different things, but where's the weight going to be and what's going to cross them over from one to the other? I think it pushes them right back to saying, you know what? We're hitting the pause button one more time, which I think would be the right thing to do.
I think so, too. And I'll also point out, Pete, that I saw this headline and I thought it was interesting. Norway's sovereign wealth fund, which has $2.3 trillion from the revenue that they collect for being a big oil supplier, because many of you know the North Sea. Well, Norway is the one that's pumping the most out of that. Yep. And then they pile the money into this sovereign wealth fund. Well, they made $184 billion in the first half of the year. So call it $92 billion every quarter, Pete, that they're making. And they own some SpaceX, by the way.
Seems like they're doing okay, huh?
Seems like they are.
Yeah.
Well, how about the VIX? Given that we've waited for 2 days at least for this CPI number that came out basically exactly where we thought it would be. Mm-hmm. What did the VIX do today when that came out?
Well, I'll tell you what's really interesting about the VIX, John, is it is shifting around a little bit. It is down 6% since in the last week or so. And looking at it even today, pretty dramatic drop today, about 3% once again. So here we are. You can see it by the charts there. We've been dropping, I think, for all the right reasons. If you take a look at the S&P 500 and understand, hey, look, it only moved 0.3%. Hey, look, it only moved 0.5%, whatever it might be. There's always been a little something baked in there. But the reality is, I think it's very, very accurate. Here we are today sitting mostly in the 14s. We got to 1440 or 1470 on the lows, John. And we hit the lowest level we had been in since very early July, and the absolute lowest we'd been, if you eliminate July, if you go all the way to January. So that gives you a little bit of an idea that here we are, back underneath 15. We're into the 14s. The one thing that might be lurking around there, John, because of the fact that, it's gotten a little less expensive, probably would be our good friend 50 Cent. At some point, might be seeing some calls getting bought that are going to be representative of him. We'll see.
Well, I always love to see when 50 Cent puts a print up, Pete, because it's always big when he does, or she does, because we don't know who it is, folks. All right, Pete, prediction markets. This was interesting to me. New York City Council member, the speaker of the New York City Council, basically announced an investigation into the marketing and advertising practices of 4 prediction exchanges. And One of the things that I was surprised about, Pete, is I didn't know there were 4 decent sized ones. I only knew about Kalshi and Polymarket,
Yeah.
but apparently there's also Coinbase and Gemini Titan. Never heard of Gemini Titan, but I guess I got to start looking there too. But yeah, they've got 14 days to respond, Pete, and this is not the same investigation that's done because of the sports betting. This is basically how they advertise and market through influencers. So pretty interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting how that plays out. It certainly has got. I bet you there's some people out there that are shaking around a little bit because probably felt like it was all smooth sailing until now. Now they get this and they're like, oh well. So it's going to be interesting. You know, the whole thing with the poly markets and so forth is it's fun, it's interesting, but you know, you do wonder is it going to create more degenerates than we already have? And maybe that answer is yes.
Yes. Well, by the way, Pete, as you know, because you and I did the Rebel Investor Club monthly meeting last night, because one of the things you get as part of the Rebel Investor Club is, folks, you can ask us questions, which you can't when we're on TV and so forth. And you get access to pre-market IPOs before they come to the public markets. You get access to some of the same investments that Pete and I are making, whether it's crowdfunded or other. So one of the things we wanted to also let people know about is that the screen behind me that's kind of morphing a little bit right now, that is the Circa Sportsbook. And we're going to be out there at Circa October 20th and 21st. We're going to be out there for RebelCon 2026. So there you see it. It's going to be fabulous. You can scan that QR code right there on the screen, folks, and you can see all about it. If you're a member of the Rebel Investors Club, you get an additional discount, by the way. But RebelCon's going to be great, Pete. We're going to have our cadre of very interesting entrepreneurs out there. We're adding basically one a week to this lineup that you already see there on your screen. So we'll be able to tell you about more of the fabulous speakers that we're going to have there next week on the show. But in the meantime, before it sells out, go to RebelCon. You can, again, scan that QR code. It's the easiest way to do it, and check out exactly what we're offering. And by the way, $110 a night is what I think Derek Stevens and the crew at Circa are offering our attendees, Pete, to stay at that beautiful new casino down there on Fremont Street. So check it out, folks. Yeah. Scan that QR code. Join Pete, join Jon, Ray Lewis, Derek Stevens, some experts in crypto as well as quantum. We've got a bunch of new names that we're adding next week. So Dr. Drew has just confirmed, by the way, Pete, and Dr. Drew and maybe his sidekick, Adam Carolla. We'll let you know next week. But those two on stage would be worth the price of admission for those two alone, Pete.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. That'd be great.
A lot of great entrepreneurs, a fabulous time. And again, you're there in that world's largest sports book, indoors or outdoors. So check it out, folks. Now let's check out Cava Group, Pete, because, Mediterranean food, I'll call it. They're up 12% today. And I remember our friend, Pete, Connell McShane, telling me, Jon, how can you just dismiss, the fact that somebody answers a poll and they say, oh, we're not really confident. Well, okay, riddle me this, Connell. How is it that revenue's up 31% at a restaurant chain? Consumers must really be strapped if it's up 31% at this Mediterranean fast casual chain. But again, everybody has to decide how they want to invest their money. I follow the smart money, and so do you, Pete.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. They had a great Q2. That's a shock, right? I mean, we're at an 86% beat from the earnings side of things, and the revenue side about 80%. Matter of fact, you just talked about the revenue. up 31% year over year. I would say, to your point, Jon, pretty damn strong. That's why the stock looks like that today, and a very, very nice big jump to the upside. They actually were in line-ish or whatever with the earnings, but people loved what they saw when they saw their revenue at 365 million. So they were looking for 360. They beat that number. Their restaurant sales are the same. Restaurant sales are up 9% as well. Traffic was up about 5%. So basically, there's check. Checked all the boxes, and you said 12%. I'm going to say 13% because I think that's what we're looking at right now. But nonetheless, they did what they needed to do in this earnings quarter. And you know what? I'm expecting they're going to do the same in the future.
Well, and it turns out, Pete, that some smart people put on some pretty nice bets just a couple days ago. Imagine that. So I think it was August 6th, Pete. Here we are, the 12th today. But they came in and they were buying calls. And they bought a call spread, which, as you can see there, they bought the August 67 calls, spent $2.71, and then they sold twice as many of the August 83 calls. Now, I'll tell you, the August 67 calls went to, I think, almost $6 today, Pete. And meanwhile, the 83s still way out of the money, and they expire on Friday, basically worthless. They were trading for, I think, 10 to 20 cents. So you could rip a nice fat 150% gain in just a few days if you were smart enough to follow that smart money. Right. And that's a Cava trade for you, folks. As good as the food is, trade was even better. All right. It was.
Yeah, it was. Hell yeah, it was.
Let's talk about CoreWeave, Pete, because CRWV, another company with some really strong earnings, shares are up 18%. And it's just exploding to the upside. Solid Q2, and they raised guidance. Revenue more than doubled to 2.58 billion. Again, Connell McShane, come on back and bring Pete and I on there to tell you about how horrible the economy is if CoreWeave is doubling a multi-billion-dollar revenue year over year. But again, I'm not trying to give Connell too much crap, folks.
No. We love him.
Love to torture him. He's a good guy. But he's a Newsmax broadcaster.
And it's a good thing for News Nation. It's a good
News Nation. That's right.
Good thing for these guys. You know what? They've got to poke it a little bit. They got to see what, because there's a lot of people that come on there that don't talk about the real numbers. And these are the real numbers. And CoreWeave delivered about as good as you could, Jon. I mean, you already talked about a couple of the things. How about the backlog? They've got a backlog of 104 billion, expanding for the power capacity that they've got. They raised the guidance on their revenue. I mean, everywhere you look, you talked about that revenue was 2.58, but we'll call it 2.6 billion, which was the doubling year over year. So across the board, unbelievable. And on top of all of that, you see where the stock is at 107. Jefferies came out today and said, you know what, we got a buy and a 150 target on this son of a gun. So it's had a nice run. And you know what? Hopefully the guys over at Jefferies are doing a great job, because if they are, and this thing can go up there, that could be an unbelievable run from here. So 150, I said, not 115, by the way, 150 is what their new price target is. So yeah, I would say CoreWeave, like we've been saying, crushed it.
I mean, Pete, the end of July, it was a $60 stock. Now it's 107 or whatever. I mean, it's just exploding the upside with, again, that Jefferies target going all the way up to 150.
Yep.
All right. Let's talk about Lumentum Holdings. It's another stock on our watch list, and this one popped bigly, Pete. But it's a $900 stock. It's up 14%, trading at the highs of the day. And I'll just point out that, anytime you're talking about trading a $900 stock, 1,000 shares is just shy of $1 million. $1 million for 1,000 shares. Meanwhile, you could buy options and control 1,000 shares for probably, I don't know, a 20th or a 40th of that amount, and have a little diversification and some risk mitigation in place. I like Lumentum, and I think that this basically cloud and networking stuff that they do is, going to keep driving great revenue here. But man, $900 stock, if you're not trading options, you should be.
And how about that jump from July 30th to this number that we're looking at today? I mean, that's a short window, man. We're talking 2 weeks, right? So, I mean, that's pretty amazing. It is truly amazing how big of a jump that these guys have had. And that's something that they've been known for this whole year, at least, because they just keep percentage-wise just gaining more and more. It seems like the momentum is right on their side, Jon, in a big way. There's a lot of solid things that came out of this quarter. The results themselves were great. The outlook was also great. You know what? They're in this optical area as well as the data cam place and all the rest of it. I mean, I just look at this thing and I say, okay, wait a minute. Let me look at this revenue one more time, because we were just talking about this with CoreWeave. How about this? Their revenue is 1.01 billion. That's up 109% year over year. I'd say, once again, to your point, the economy and everything else seem to be moving a lot differently than a lot of folks will think it is. So interesting to see this one. And another stock that's up 13% today, and all it does is go up. I mean, occasionally there's a pullback, but other than that, it does go up. And that, if you saw the whole chart for the year, you'd see it. I mean, this thing is on fire. People want it.
Well, let's finish up, Pete, with SMCI, Super Microcomputer. This quarter that ended June 30th came in for them with revenue up 93%. But get this, despite the fact that it's up 93%, Pete, they missed. People were saying, you know what? It might come in at 11.2 to 11.6 billion, and it, in air quotes, only came in at 11.12 billion, up 93%. But then what did they do as far as guidance, Pete? Well, guidance was pretty good, and the stock's up 15%. So this is one of those examples where what happened in the past, even though it was great, they did miss on the street estimate, but the guidance going forward is what people are reacting to as well.
And their earnings was an absolute massive beat on top of that. Their outlook with the revenue is somewhere between 65 and 72 billion. They have record backlog, Jon, as well. And that's something that I think has really stood out for me over this last couple of weeks of earnings that we're getting, is all these reports on the backlog. Well, I mean, there's some size numbers we're talking about out there. I mean, just amazing just to see how strong this really is. So, for all those that keep on trying to poke holes in this thing, I don't know when you're going to get it, because it sure seems like between the fact that they've got the backlog, and these guys have a record backlog, but they've got that, they still have what they refer to as robust demand. I would say that they are positioned very, very well, and this is just another one of those. And like you said, up another 13%. So we got a 13% up, 13% up, 18% up, 13% up. Not such a bad group that we got today.
No. Absolutely destroying it on earnings. And as we said yesterday, the S&P cadre of stocks has just been outperforming like crazy.
Yep.
All right, let's take a look, Pete, at some freak shows in college football, shall we?
Yeah.
Because there are some freaks, and these college football players just get scarier and scarier every year. So let's take a look at these skill players, Pete.
It's unbelievable.
Track stars and an SEC running back that squats 800 pounds. There are some freaks. And
800-pound squat.
So Bruce Feldman of The Athletic has put out his annual freaks list. And while there's
some
familiar names
400, 500 is a good number.
Smith, here are a few other under-the-radar skill players that you need to know for this season.
Look at the quads on that.
Florida State receiver Mekhi Danzy. He's a track star who set the ACC record.
Look at this. Look at him run right by people.
While upping his weight to 200 pounds. Next, NC State running back
Look
Duke
at the
Scott,
quads.
who's just a bowling ball that can fly. He's 5'10", 230 pounds, but this offseason ran a 4.3 540 and has a 38-inch vertical. He also hit a back squat of
You don't want to be the safety that he's had about a 12-yard run already before he hits you.
bench 225 34 times, which would have been the second most at the NFL Combine in April. That's Rice's
34 reps at 2
who also squats over 600 pounds and has been clocked running over 21 miles per hour. But not to be outdone, another running back squatted 800 pounds this offseason, and it's Alabama's Daniel Hill. He was a track star in high school despite weighing 230 pounds. In addition to the squat,
230 pounds.
That guy's going to
375. He also has
not that they need another one, but my gosh, that guy's
Alabama's lead running back this season.
Behind that offensive line.
Expected to dominate college football this.
I don't even have to look.
Wow.
Alabama will always have an offensive line. it's like Ohio State having receivers and probably offensive linemen themselves or whatever. But yeah, pretty amazing. That freaks is exactly what we would call it, and that's a compliment, by the way, folks. That these guys are absolute super freaks. There's no doubt. I don't know where Rick James is, but we ought to have him playing right now. All right, Jon. How about this? We're talking about college football. Why don't we talk about who are some of the coaches that are really sitting on the hot seat? And I've got a couple of names up here that I thought we could kind of kick around and just for fun to see. Belichick. Now, the experiment hasn't gone very well so far. And if you go back in the past, Jon, and you and I have talked about this before, but pro coaches are so different from college and vice versa that it's not always a home run to get a great coach from the pros to come to a college team or great college coach trying to go up into the NFL. As a matter of fact, Nick Saban, a lot of people forgot about this. He's arguably one of the best coaches ever in college football. But I said college football because he had a brief spot at Miami that didn't go too well with the Dolphins. So just another example, right? I mean, we see this happen all the time. So Belichick is struggling. His record last year was 4-8. And I think he's publicly got his money is out there in the public. $10 million a season is what he's getting paid. And if they, do they want to buy it out? My guess would be no. Right? I mean, I don't know, Jon, and you could jump in on any one of these. How about Luke Fickell from Wisconsin? 2 straight losing seasons at Wisconsin, which is a Big Ten school that seems to always win. They don't win the Big Ten, but they're damn good. They're going to beat somebody they shouldn't. And the next thing you know, they go to a really nice bowl game. Well, that's not what Luke Fickell is having done right now. So what do you think of him? I mean, is he on a hot or is it just warm?
Both those guys are on the hot seat, Pete.
Yeah.
Both of those guys. And like you said, the buyout potentially for North Carolina might be a reason that they don't do it.
Right.
They could. We've seen stupid things go on at LSU or wherever where people will buy out Kelly or other people that have years left on their contract for millions, tens of millions of dollars. But Fickell, he is definitely on the hot seat. In fact, if he has a couple key losses among the first 8 games, Pete, he'll be gone before the end of the season if that's the case, because the athletic director will have to make a decision, and he'll probably rather make it before the end of the season when he can still kind of line up some candidates. Because at the end of the season, when everybody that doesn't like how their season went fires people, he might not be able to compete and get the coach that he really wants.
Well, I'll tell you this about Luke Fickell. Here's the mistake that he has made. He's trying to turn Wisconsin into a run and gun type team, and he wants more on the gun side. Well, that doesn't work. Wisconsin is known for having 5 big, absolute massive guys who are going to go into the NFL and be football players, centers, guards, tackles, tight ends, running backs, all the rest of it. And he's trying to turn him into a passing team. It's just not who Wisconsin is. And I think that's what's probably frustrating a lot of the people too, because they're looking at this going, hey man, if you were winning, it might be one thing, but you're losing with what you're doing, and that ain't so good. Mike Norvell is a good one, Jon, here at Florida State. $46 million buyout for him. Just to give you a little bit of an idea, because that one is actually out there. So that one could be pretty interesting because he's not getting where they want him to be. Aranda over there at Baylor is not getting it done either. He's got a sub 500 record as a head coach. Loxley over at Maryland, you've got Shane Beamer, the son of his father was at Virginia Tech forever. He's at South Carolina. They were 4-8 last year. Some people even say Lincoln Riley maybe, because he wants, USC wants a team that's somewhere in the game, right? Somewhere in the playoffs. And so far, it just hasn't been what they were looking for. And so that one, I would say, in the warm category. I don't know how hot it is, but I'd say it's on the warming, and it's warming up every single day. But what do you think of some of those names? And do you think any of them are I made a mistake by putting them in the hot seat group?
Nope. I think you're exactly right. And Lincoln Riley, Pete, that is another one that if the first 5 to 8 games do not go well in the Big Ten for this guy, with the recruiting class that they've allegedly had and that they have going into 2027, they'll find a new coach. They'll find him quick, because it's win now, baby, if you're USC. And if they don't, could he survive, 10-2 or 9-3? Probably. But if he's 3-5 in the Big Ten, he's not going to be there very long.
And it is a competitive league. It really is. I mean, when you look at the top group, especially, you just go, wow. And I'll tell you what, a team that people might sleep on is Michigan State, because you and I both like the coach who came from Northwestern, was a great linebacker in his career. I think that might be a place to kind of keep an eye on, because he knows how to do it with a little less money and a little less of whatever, even maybe talent. He can coach pretty damn well.
Fitz is a pretty smart guy.
Yeah, he is. All right, John, the Vikings finally made the move. They decided after the quarterback competition, because you and I talked about it, this was the most competitions, QB1, QB2 competitions, that we've seen in the NFL in a really long time, if ever. And the Vikings were one of them, right? So we've got Kyler Murray, and then we've got the chosen one who came from Michigan. And unfortunately, it just hasn't been working out because he keeps getting hurt. And part of the problem is the offensive line. So, we'll see how that goes. And the other difference is between these two, I think that Kevin O'Connell, the head coach, is probably going to allow for Kyler to get back there in the shotgun a lot more than he normally would. He's not that kind of a coach. He usually doesn't have guys in the big shotgun positions as frequently, but it looks like that's what he's going to do, because Kyler, not to be too funny about how his height, but you know what? In the NFL, when you got guys like the Viking defensive line that I'm going to go see later on today, when you got 6'6", 6'7" guys coming at you with their arms in the air like this, and you're maybe 5'10", John, it's tough to have vision down the field. So it's going to be interesting, but he can run around. The kid is fast and he's athletic and all that. I think the world of him, and I think he's improved a lot each year at being in the NFL. But I wish the competition went longer, but the problem is you got to get more reps to whoever's going to be your starter, because that's the way it just has to be. And you can't be 50-50. And so I think that's why Kevin O'Connell said, I think it was yesterday, all right, we have our QB1. So what do you think of that? Did he do the right thing?
Yeah. Until that offensive line solidifies, Pete, and maybe it has congealed in training camp, I don't know.
Right.
But until they do, you've got to be a running quarterback. And that's what Murray can do. He can run. He's a Drew Brees-like quarterback. He can scramble to the outside and get a passing lane. I don't know that JJ is quite the same as that, Pete. He's more of a pure drop back passer in my mind. And clearly Murray in his career at the Cardinals, Arizona Cardinals, has proved that, he can make it work, much like, the quarterback at Baltimore has made it work, where you scramble a lot, but you create opportunities when you scramble. Yep. He doesn't necessarily want to run every play, but he definitely is going to be a scrambler. And if the offensive line gives him a little more time, then he won't have to scramble as much. But that remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. Well, here's one last stat on that. In 2023, they had Kirk Cousins. 24, they had Sam Darnold. 25, they had J.J. McCarthy. This is the opening day quarterback. Now they got Kyler Murray. So they need to find somebody who's going to be there maybe 2 years or something like that. Yeah. And by the way, to see the fact that, Cousins is still a damn good quarterback. Let's be honest. He's out there with the Raiders now, but he's still a damn good quarterback. We got rid of him. Sam Darnold only, what was he, the MVP of the Super Bowl or something like that, or whatever he was? Well,
Yeah.
we had him. We just gave him away. So it's not like they haven't had opportunities to kind of break it up the way that you want to do it if you're a coach. But, JJ, he's had the injuries. I get it. And we'll see, because I'm not sure that if Kyler starts, it doesn't mean he's going to be the quarterback all year either, especially if the offensive line hasn't improved a lot.
Yeah, well, it will indeed be trial by fire for both of those two quarterbacks, Pete. And I'll point out that Cousins was out there sparring with our friend Max Crosby this week out in Las Vegas.
They pulled him out.
Yeah, he and Max Crosby were going at it, and Cousins wasn't backing down either, Pete, because he was like, "Man, you've hit my throwing arm twice now, MF. You better freaking watch yourself, because that ain't how these practices are supposed to go." And he's right.
Yes.
They got Mendoza, but he has to think that he's the starting quarterback right now with Mendoza as the understudy for a couple games, if not longer.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, you're hitting this guy's throwing arm. I mean, I love Max Crosby, Pete, but he's got to take it down a notch if you're going in at your starting quarterbacks, plural, and they're ending up hitting your head with their throwing arm and so forth. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
All right.
We got one last thing. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, one last thing. Breaking news during the show, folks. Mr. Kushner, not Jared, not the president's son-in-law, but the brother of the president's son-in-law, and Bob Iger, the former CEO of Disney, have put together $12.25 billion to buy the Los Angeles Lakers. Now, they were rumored to be going out to what's behind me here, Circus Hotel and Casino. They were rumored to be in the running for that NBA franchise for Vegas, Pete. Now, I don't think they're moving the Lakers. So they're buying the Lakers to be in Los Angeles. But, man, Walter, the guy that is the CEO over at Guggenheim, Pete, he just got approved on his $10 billion purchase of the Lakers with Magic last year. And now these guys are flipping it for a fast $2 billion profit. How do you look at that and not say, okay, what kind of pressure did they offer, Pete?
It is amazing, isn't it? I mean, it is amazing. Hey, I just wanted to point out something, because this is right. If I'm saying it correctly, the most expensive franchise so far in the U.S., right, or something like that.
Yep, it is.
Yeah, it's funny that's come out, because just yesterday, or maybe it was the day before, the estimates that were given, and I don't know if it's Jerry Jones giving it or who, but they said the Cowboys are $15.5 billion is what the estimated value is. So as big as this number is, football still might have them. And, we won't know, because Jerry's not planning on selling anytime soon that I know of. But man, if it's really worth 15, if that's worth 15, I would say that's brought up the Raiders on their value too, speaking of the Raiders, because shoot, a few years ago when you and I had some conversations with people over there and we're trying to put together some people to do something, that was 10 billion, with a B. So these numbers just go like this, man.
Yeah, it's the most exclusive club in America, folks.
It's amazing.
There are only 32 teams in the NFL, so. All right, well, we will be back tomorrow. Pete knows what time. I'm not sure. He always lets me know. What time do we come on tomorrow, Pete, for the Rebels Edge?
Let me check my phone here. It's 1 p.m. Eastern time, John. We're going to be here. We're going to be there. And I might be tight on time, so we'll have to see how things work tomorrow. I got something else going on too. But 1 p.m. Eastern time.
Bang. See you then, folks.